Diagnosis. Are you? You're gonna diagnose her. You're now. You wear many hats. I don't know, he's just trying to regulate like all the information.
So I'm gonna be sure. I don't know. People know like they're gonna figure out this. Well, my phone.
Good, how you doing?
So I had a lot of people asking me the other night.
It was great. Definitely.
Okay.
Access code or phone number you have not
Number one, sorry.
Please check your credentials.
Yeah, it's really, I can do it. Yeah, I haven't done it anymore.
7170.
Yeah.
Please enter
I
your
probably
access
can't.
code followed by the pound or hash sign.
I now have graduated almost to the one grade up.
If you are one of the
Yeah, I just
have
have
one
to
right
walk
now,
around.
please enter
I didn't realize you had to.
Sorry, sorry.
Well, I she did until we should. So I don't know if that's what you.
Hi.
Why have that? My phone's got internet on.
Yeah. Okay, so you guys can see the different options.
Let me get this.
For what,
Yeah,
garbage.
I just put it on the bottom. Yeah, let's make sure you guys can see.
Sounds good.
Just put it up.
Did they take it out of the packet?
Huh?
Wait, there's another packet now too. Well, this one wanted.
I just wanted to that one. And then put it up.
Questions or something. She gave them more information so we could talk about it. I'm really concerned with the light color blue.
And marker. Choice. You know?
Like the dark brown.
What are you gonna do?
Good, how are you?
Black.
All right. All right. Think we're ready to go? Debbie, ready?
Mhm.
All right, we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order, starting with roll call. Steve?
Yes.
Lauren?
Yes.
Megan?
Yep.
Doug? Yes. Ken?
Yes.
Approval of agenda in front of you. You do have the agenda. Any additions, subtractions, corrections, or movements that need to be made at this time?
Are there people here for specific items?
I'm trash cans.
Trash can. Okay. Kathy?
City Park.
City Park?
E, right?
E.
E, Old Settlers Bandstand.
And the bathroom, if we're talking grants.
Is that?
I don't know if it's.
We can discuss that under item H, Parks and Open Spaces.
Okay.
Becky?
Just watching.
Okay. Mitzi?
Oh, no reason.
Okay.
Oh,
7A and 7E. Move them up.
where do you want to move them to?
I move E up to after A.
Okay.
Is that what you feel is appropriate, Doug?
Sounds fine.
That is a movement made by Doug to move item E underneath of item 7A. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Lauren. Discussion? Hearing none. Steve?
Yes.
Lauren?
Yes.
Megan?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Ken?
Yes.
All right. Item number 4, Citizens Forum. At this time, we'll take any input from the citizens other than anything that is currently on the agenda. Anything? Okay. Item number 5, departmental report, Sheriff's Office.
Yes,
Don't know, do we have the report? Is it floating around?
there was one sent out, I know.
Okay. We can take a look at it later. Do you have anything for us?
I don't, I know we had I think Lauren called in a complaint about speeders.
Yeah.
Where's that cross street at?
5th Street, Myers.
Myers, okay.
Yep, east.
of town.
Yep.
Just resident complaints about speeding. It's zone 35.
Mhm.
I think they're guesstimating between 50 and 55 is what they're saying, and this has been a long time.
Yep.
Just something that we need to,
And it was sent out, I'm not sure when, I had a couple days off here, so I got back and I saw the email, so it was sent out to all patrol that we were made aware of that, so.
perfect,
Hopefully get some extra patrol there.
perfect. Thank you.
Anything else for the sheriff's office? I said that was already kind of addressed, but,
I think so. You guys have anything? Perfect.
all right,
Thank you.
yep, thank you.
Stay
Thank
safe.
you.
Thanks.
Stay safe.
All right, now fire report. Looks like there are 4 calls with 16 people, injuries or accidents, none. Any maintenance, 6 needs new, there's 6 new air bottles purchased. Special event Santa will be at the station this Saturday. Future plans, they're looking to get a grant to help pay for fire gear, washing machine, and nothing that the city needs to do on that side. Anything for Tony on the fire department side? Okay, moving on. EMS report.
Dave Palmer.
EMS report. They had 10 pages responded to were 6. Certified EMS personnel per call was 1 to 2. Fire persons assist 3. Cambridge to Maxwell 2. EMS meeting training attendance was 5. Monthly truck check was completed. CQI completed by Story County Medical. Doesn't look like there's any vehicle maintenance needing to be done. Nothing from this from the city council. They want to know where we are on combining departments. Also accepted the new Tahoe, waiting on the reply from Carl's to find out how moving forward. Anything for Scott on the EMS side?
Should we hold a special meeting for the combining?
We probably should get.
Steve gave me some paperwork and I've just been down, I haven't got to it yet, so I'll look at some of that about getting some bylaws changed and some other stuff or whatever.
In order to
Ordinance.
combine, we need to change the city ordinance
It's in the ordinance.
because they are now separate. So we will, when all that paperwork is together, we'll have a hearing, and if we want to have a meeting to discuss before then
And we'll have to
we
bring it up
can
with
set up a
board,
time.
the board too. So.
Yeah, the fire board.
Okay.
It's gonna be a lengthy process, so.
Perfect.
Anything else for Scott? There we go. Move on. The library. Trying to get to their main page.
Back to Scott.
Yeah.
I just noticed some new business here in their meetings. I think we should say that they're doing pictures with Santa and Paws for Saturday too. And don't charge. And then the 9th, please be at the station, consider the, okay, that's, but anyway, pictures.
For Santa Claus. 11 a.m. to 12 p.m.
Yep.
All right, so it looks like if I'm scrolling through here quickly, the director's report, 137 patrons, early outs. They had 24 people attending movies, 8 attended STEM, 15, an additional 15 for the next week of the movies. Books, 116, DVDs, 19, computers, $1 adult, 18 children. Also, obviously, the library's been closed while they go through the restructuring, but normal hours have started up again this week. Anything for the library board? Okay. Moving on. Item 5E, Public Works. Have pictures and price of a $1,250 cab and cleaner for the snow blower. And that is something that you guys want to move forward with. I can let Tony know as well. I've been told that they've only found 3, and this is the cheapest of the 3 other ones that they found, since it's an older one, and all the glasses is in
Good.
that. So. anything on that the city council wants to discuss just on that item?
Because it's not a part of the agenda, how do we move forward with it? Do they need us for that?
Do they have money in their budget?
It's under that threshold. We'll have to check the budget to make sure that it's in it. If it is, if you guys think it's okay, then I think I can approve that because it's under the $5,000. So.
Okay.
Moving on to parks, there's nothing new there. Water, the main line into the school broke Friday morning, helped with White's Plumbing over the weekend to get it repaired and water back onto the school. Water meter radio change out is moving right along. Sewer, the DNR inspection went well, have some recommendations to work on. Anything for toning on the public works side?
Christmas lights look great.
They do. Public works. Is that what I did?
Yeah.
Just on
That's
the
what I
agenda?
just did.
City clerk. Let's see here. Hope to be done with FEMA by March, about halfway done with endpoint change out. All but 3 lawn meters are in. Finally removed campers from the park and working with the new library board. There's also complaint in here. There it is. 710 Maxwell Street, dog came out in the street showing teeth and growling, causing a big problem with my dog on a leash. Police report filed. The case number's there. And the Story County Sheriff's Office said that there wasn't really an issue with that one. As a matter of fact, I think the Sheriff's Office was actually out playing with the dog. There was no threat. So. On the same thing, another complaint, the cats by the Presbyterian Church are digging in the garage and they're coming 2 houses south and they're wondering if something can be done for that. We just asked that if you're on the phone, please put your phone on mute, please. If you guys can hear us on the phone, can you please put your phone on mute? Thank you.
I don't think they heard you.
One more time, if you are on your phone, please put your phone on mute. Okay, thank you. Moving on. And then the treasurer's report is in there. You can see that. Are there anything for Deb and Dee? I'm going to take a look quick up there. The public works.
Deb, are we expecting more revenue on the wastewater treatment facility project?
No.
Are we expecting any income on the FEMA 2020?
Yes.
Do we expect it to turn out to be a 0, or will there still be a deficit?
We're hoping it be 0.
Okay. So it might be close.
It'll be close.
Anything else for Dear Deb? Okay. Engineer report. I don't know. Did you get one of those, Deb?
No.
Okay. So moving along, parks and open spaces. Are there anything under that we would like to discuss? Kathy, grants?
So there's 2 grants. One is for the bandstand, and I had received a quote from Jesse Hill.
Okay.
So I just like to make sure we use Jesse for,
Yeah.
yeah, the reciting, that's all they're doing.
Okay.
And then, I don't know if you have any comments. And then, Frank Richardson for Patriot Plumbing for the, making the bathrooms in the city park ADA compliant.
Okay.
If that's okay. I can tell him to go ahead and proceed. Work with Tony.
Good with that? Guys good with that? Yeah.
That's it.
Good enough? Okay. Anything else for the Parks and Open Spaces Board? All right, moving on. Business item 7A, discussion and action on park trash cans. Cass, you're up.
Well, I am Cassie. I am here on behalf of Parks and Open Spaces Board today. We had a meeting a few weeks ago and it wasn't on our agenda, but with their support, they said I could come here tonight and talk about it. Our trash cans in the park don't look that great. A lot of them are rusted. They're getting sharp edges because of the metal top. But it's kind of been on our yearly plan to actually do something about trash cans. Originally, it was like our goal was maybe 2 a year because the price has gone up on them. They're pretty expensive. But with the new grant with the bandstand, a lot of our main goal for fundraiser money was to go to the bandstand. But now with that grant going to that, we tried to find a new way to kind of put forth our fundraiser money. And one way that I thought, and then the Parks and Open Spaces kind of agreed with me, was to replace the trash cans. I gave you a map. The stars are where I think we for sure need them. The circle is if we have enough money, if the budget has enough money to add a tent, the circle one would be a tent. So like one on each side of the tank, shelter, and rock, one on each side of those instead of just on one. But again, if we have to cut a little bit of money, that's where I would say to cut one. The market in the park and open spaces, we've raised enough money to probably cover about $3,600 worth is what we've come up with. If we need to try to scrounge up a little more, we probably could. But basically what we're asking would be that the city would cover $4,000 to $5,000, thinking about $4,500, looking at the price of things. I looked at many websites. The one that you guys have the information for is by far my favorite one. You can pick the outside finish, you can pick the lid color. They are 53 gallons, but the liner is only 41. It's like the whole concrete is 53, but it comes with a liner. And a lot of other websites don't come with a liner. You have to pay additional for that. They also have free shipping. There's 3 other websites I looked at that did not include free shipping. The trash cans were a lot cheaper. When you add the shipping, it was over $11,000. Yeah, it was over $11,000 when you add it that way. These are also made in the United States. I don't know if that is a huge thing, but that's a big thing for me is that it's made in the USA. They come with a security cable. That was one of our concerns as Park and Open Spaces when we did redo these trash cans. We wanted a metal chain like some of the ones in the park have. A lot of them are missing or broken now, so the whole top can just like fall off. So that's another reason I like this one. They also have a retainer ring that holds the trash bags in place. And then I also included a few other things last minute, but that got me thinking. So they allow you to return anything damaged. So if it shows up and like the concrete's cracked on the way, they will replace it immediately for you. It did say there might be a little bit of additional cost if we need a lift gate delivery. I don't know if that's something we need. It basically would lower it to the ground so you could get them off the trailer. I don't know what machinery we have if we need that, but that'd be something we'd have to recommend as I'm purchasing or whoever's purchasing them, that we would need a lift gate or not. And then if you want to be like contacted about when it's going to be delivered, that could be an additional charge.
Did it tell you how much of an additional charge for the lift gate?
I just noticed it yesterday. I didn't realize that was an additional cost until recently.
I didn't
So
know if
it's
we're
something
talking
I-
hundreds or if we're talking like 1,000.
I doubt it's thousands.
How much
That
do
would
these
be
things weigh?
something I have to look. 610 pounds
You're
a piece.
unloading them all, kid.
It's on the specifications
Up into the
page. It talks about their height, weight. They are made of concrete. We were considering going to metal because we thought they'd be cheaper, because that was another thing. We kind of been putting this off, hoping the prices would drop. It's not gonna happen. They've kind of peaked at this $800 mark for concrete, but the metal ones are actually like more expensive. And they're not gonna be as durable. The ones we have in the park, I don't even know when those were put in the park, like before I was born, I don't know. But they're starting to crack and not look as nice, so. Parks and Open Spaces really wants to put our mark on the community and let them know that we are using the fundraiser money to work towards goals. And I think new trash cans would be a really positive first step to show the community we are trying to make the town better and make improvements. Like I said, there are many colors and stuff, so that would just be something that like we would just have to discuss, I guess, to decide what colors and stuff would be best. You guys have any questions for me?
Is there a discount for getting this many, or is it just $800 a piece, whether you order one or whether you order 10?
I think there was a slight discount if you ordered more than 6, if I remember correctly. But the cost of these is like what it was in the cart. Like I could have bought them and just sent to my house, but.
Then would have to deal with it.
I know. But yeah, so that's just figuring out the lift gate, if that's an important part, could change it. But like I said, if the market needs to cover a little bit more, we can try to do that.
Wouldn't it be possible to do this over 2 or 3 years? So you got 3 a year or 4 a year, and not have such a large expenditure all at one time.
That's definitely an option. I just thought it would be a good, people want to know what we're doing, and I feel like this would be a good jump towards it. Because so far as I've been on Parks and Open Spaces, we haven't, as the group, we haven't asked the city for any money for stuff, except I think maybe stencils. But so I feel like I've been on there 2 years, and I feel like we're finally ready, since we've fundraised quite a bit of money, to like basically go 50-50 with the city on this.
Rack your brain for a second. Do you think a skid loader would be able to help lift these down instead of an additional lift
The
charge?
big backhoe we have.
Yeah, we got,
Something
handle it.
additional?
They've got some on that, yeah. The interesting part,
Somebody
if
has.
there's a discount, if we buy X amount, that might be a target number to consider if we do spread it over.
I feel like it was 6. But I can double
I
check
can write all
that.
this down, Castle, we can call too.
Yeah.
Not really. Community betterment.
So you're looking at using the, going 50-50 with the city. And so
It'd be close to that.
roughly,
Yeah.
so if we went with 10, that would be about $4,400 each, roughly.
Yep.
And this would come, the 4,400 would come out of Parks and Open Space budget.
Yes. That was my understanding.
For community betterment, whatever the council feels is appropriate.
Was that a motion statement?
No, not yet. I'd like to hear what some of the other council feel.
think I spoke with Tony and Chrissy both about them. I sent the link to them because at the end of the day, they're the ones that are gonna have to be around these trash cans, doing the work, that sort of thing. And a 53-gallon trash can in our brains was like, oh yeah, that's a pretty big trash can. But then we confirmed that the inside receptacle is 41 gallons. So it's very similar to what we have down there now, which is very easy to pull out a full trash bag and get rid of it.
How many do we have now?
We have 9, don't we?
9 or 10. I don't remember if there's one on the other side of the tank. That's why I have that one circled. Because I feel like there's one over there, but I don't
I think
remember.
you're right.
So this would be essentially replacing what we have with new. And that is the recommendation of the Parks and Open Space Board, right?
Yeah, right.
Where's the budget? Shows community government.
Well, not community betterment.
Yeah. Grant in order to make this stuff happen. Yeah.
Steve, that 4238 negative that's in the parks total, is that because
That's
71,000 grant?
We did get a grant for something, but that has to go flood through the budget balance sheet.
You're looking at the budget.
Yeah.
And your question was what?
That 4238 that's a negative under the parks total
That's because
of the,
of the wiring that was done
oh,
at the rodeo because of the unsafe condition. And so, that's what we agreed as a council at the time was it would be paid out of that line item,
okay.
and that we would backfill it with local option sales tax money when we did our budget amendment. And if I remember correctly, the total, the amount that we spent out of that was 21,000 or
I was thinking 17.
17.
I thought it was 17,000. We talked
Oh,
about it.
and the balance of it was paid by the rodeo.
Yeah.
So 17,000 of that would leave about a $13,000 balance thereabouts.
Well, the
So we could
$10,000
take-
grant,
What is that, Deb?
the 10,000 grant for the trees.
Correct.
What was?
We have $10,000 grant coming for the trees that we had to pay for ahead of
Oh,
time.
and that too, yeah.
Yeah. And I'm sorry, I misspoke. It's 19,000 was the rodeo electrical.
Okay. So
So we do have.
there's
plenty.
$29,000 there that line item needs to be amended up. Part of it because of the grant we received for the trees. Increased revenue, increased expense. And the other part was public safety on the wiring in the park. So it appears as though we have adequate funds to move forward with 10 trash cans. So I move that we proceed with the 10 trash cans.
Do we need to?
Second that.
And that the color and everything be decided by the Parks Committee.
That's a motion made by Steve, second by Ken. Discussion. Hearing none. Lauren,
Yes.
Megan,
Yes.
Doug, Ken,
Yeah.
Steve.
Yes.
So, what's the next step?
We're gonna have to have another meeting.
Yeah. But then like, does city order them or do? like-
Well, Deb, isn't that, would you be the one ordering them? Or because they would need the city's nonprofit status or tax exempt status.
Yeah.
And all that, right?
Yeah.
The current fundraising that, the market did sits in the renewal committee's account. So Deb, we can get, Kathy, you don't think so?
We have enough in our budget.
The best way to approach that would be, that you would write a check directly to the vendor, for that portion of it, and the city would write a check for its portion.
Okay.
Alright,
Perfect.
so she would order them now after Parks meets?
Yeah.
Okay, and then we go from there.
Okay.
Cool.
Well, thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.
I'm excited.
All right, on to item
Give a
7.
hoot, don't flip.
Yeah, there you
What?
Give a hoot, don't flip.
go. Yeah.
How long is that?
Before my time.
Showing your age.
7E, discussion and action on Old
Yeah,
Settlers
I guess.
Bandstand project in front of you. You do have that quote from Jesse Hill Construction that is saying that it's going to take the wood enclosure off, and then they're going to wrap the exterior 3 sides of the bandstand with 29 gauge rib steel. New 2x6 southern yellow pine girts will be installed for framing. Existing conduits will be relocated over the new steel. Any questions, comments, concerns?
The old steering committee been involved with this? You're recommending that this be done?
Yeah, because they had to ask us if they could use our number.
The, is there any thought about using some wood sheathing on the inside so that it doesn't sound so tinny?
They didn't just
I
use.
know he
Yeah.
doesn't have it, but would you think that would be a good idea? I
Maybe
mean,
hear what it sounds like with the way it is, and then we could always add something to it.
because the tin will be on the outside, and Market in the Park will usually has a band, and we can, after we get the thing done, we can just see if the sound.
The only thing I'm afraid about that, doing it later, is if they run any conduit or whatever on the inside and anything, and then you wanna go to that, then they have to,
Take it out.
you know,
Does this include electrical?
what's that?
Does this
They're not
include
doing any
any
electrical.
electrical? Okay.
You always run the conduit on the inside.
Well, I think about paneling on the inside, and no conduits running on here.
The only conduit that I can remember down there, well, they have all those plugins,
Right.
and it's currently behind plywood. And so it may go through
Joists or
the
studs.
studs. Don't know until we tear it apart, I guess.
Right. Okay.
But the open rafters on the ceiling, there's conduit
I
on
don't
that.
think the ceiling's getting touched.
So it's not getting a metal roof. It's just
Doesn't
wrapping
it
around the
already
outside.
have a metal roof? I don't know.
No, it currently just.
It's pretty
shingle.
much to replace all the wood that's rotted and broke, and
Yeah.
won't have to paint it. If it floods, you can hose it down, make it look cleaner.
Yeah, it says just the exterior 3 sides.
Yeah.
Well, if it needs to have wood paneling on the inside to make sure that the sound is good, I think that we should keep that in our back pocket.
Well, he hasn't checked steel, but from when he did the quote, prices have gone down. So we've got to spend the money on that, for that, or we have to return it. So
There may be a
if
little bit
there's
left
extra
over.
money left, we maybe can do something to,
Do you have a time
Jazz it up.
frame that you have to have it spent by?
Yeah, there is.
is there?
Yeah. I think it's the end of the year.
Of this year?
And
No, it's the end of August. I think it's the end of August. next year.
I mean,
which is plenty of time.
So spring or summer would be fine.
he actually wants, if he said like in January or something, to get a nice day, 2 or 3, he would like to start on it at his convenience as soon as.
Sure.
Move approval.
That's a motion made by Steve,
Second,
second by Megan. Discussion. Hearing none. Megan,
yes,
Doug.
Yep.
Ken. Yeah. Steve.
Yes,
Lori.
yes.
Awesome.
Can I
Thank
add
you.
something?
Yeah.
There's like, Kathy told me there's like $300 or $400 left over from some money that Old Settlers had raised not prior Old Settlers committees, and that possibly, if needed, to do something,
Oh, yeah, that's in there too. It's like 300.
300 or 400,
So
and that's, in
it's with
the
Mark.
Mark
in the Mark,
account?
yep.
yes, but it was earmarked for band shell. So I mean, if another $300-400, if something, even to put flagpole, we do the flags, maybe a more secure. We just have to see what the price comes out as.
I think that's a great idea.
And we do have a little bit if, we could kick in to finish it.
Perfect.
Great.
Great.
Won't be any cost to the town.
Oh, that's always good to hear.
Well, and we figure that's our central port of Old Settlers.
Mhm.
I mean, everything centers around that, and then the community can use it all but 3 days of the year, so it'll look much better.
Which is also why we're looking at, and I know this was discussed with Old Settlers years ago, getting that food on the church stand elevated enough so that it's out of the water, so that when we go
We
down.
plan on working on that
one
next.
step at a time.
Yeah.
That's probably our next project that we talk about.
Well, that whole area then, I mean, we've talked, and the church stand, food stand is kind of the next thing for us, in our opinion, because then that whole area, the bends, everything kind of
Mhm.
will all be updated, and people have asked and stuff, and it shows that Old Settlers, what they've done, actually Old Settlers has done a lot for the park.
Mhm.
And I think a lot of people appreciate it.
Yep.
For sure.
Very true.
And we can spend our money on that because it improves our venue.
Yes,
Right.
So we're all legal.
sounds good.
All right. Moving on.
Thank
Seven-
Oh, also, one more thing. We do have a check for you guys. It's for we're gonna pay off the city loan.
Oh,
It'll
both?
be
We're gonna
2,000.
both
We're gonna
years?
make both payments
If that is
tonight,
Okay.
okay?
Wonderful.
Perfect.
but we want a receipt.
Yeah.
Well, no,
Deb will give you. a
not that. I
receipt.
just mean we're
Yeah,
Paper
trying
trail,
to
yep.
have a paper trail. So next year there's not you didn't pay, whatever. It's like, yep.
All right.
But
so
we'll
I
just,
think since it was an agreement between the city and Old Settlers, once the payment's received, a receipt is given that it'd be appropriate for the mayor to acknowledge by letter that it's been paid off
Yep.
and that the city appreciates all the effort.
For sure.
And then you'll have that in the.
no, that's fine. We just, would like to have a little credit for what
Absolutely.
we've done.
And it looks a lot better than it did,
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
particularly without having to put that tent up every year. That was-
And a windstorm come through and blow it down.
Yeah.
Anything else?
No.
No? Okay. 7B, discussion and action hiring for cemetery mowing. So we have 2 bids here. Those are open. One of them is from
Good night,
Dave.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. From Dave Pomeroy. It's his cemetery bid. It is for 2023, $832 per mowing yearly on the Pioneer, and on the Pioneer cemeteries increased to $800 a year on that.
Okay.
That's the current
From
person, right?
832
Want me to mail
or
it
from
to you?
800 to
You
832.
want stuff up again?
No.
I'll get a Starbucks.
The
whenever.
Pioneer Cemetery by itself is an annual
Oh, annual thing. Okay.
$800
Oh, I got you.
flat
Yeah.
amount.
So it's going up to 832.
Even if he has to go out there every 2 weeks.
So it's $832 per mow at the Maxwell Cemetery, $800 a year for the Pioneer. Yep. So that is our existing person. The next one is Alternative Services by Tim Peters. Cemetery mowing as per city posting is $590 per mow.
590.
590 per mow.
At the cemetery?
Okay.
And this would be for per the posting. It reads, the city of Maxwell is accepting sealed bids for mowing, weed eating, every other mowing, picking up sticks, removal of flowers, minor trimming of trees, cutting peonies, and general maintenance of the 2 cemeteries within city limits.
That was our posting.
That was the posting.
And so it's,
There was no reference on Peters for the Pioneer.
No, it just says the cemeteries.
Cemeteries?
Yeah.
Okay, so it says 2 on 1.
I would want it clarified before we accept the low proposal that he understands that the 2 cemeteries are not the old cemetery with the new addition, but rather it's the North Cemetery and the Pioneer Cemetery. Since I'm not sure the posting was perfect, to an outsider, that may not be perfectly clear. And if the proposal is $590 per mowing, then with the string trimming at every other mowing, I move that Peter's proposal or bid be accepted if he understands that the Pioneer Cemetery is part of the job.
Okay. So I will take that as a motion.
Yep.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Megan. Discussion? Hearing none. Doug?
Yes.
Ken?
Yeah.
Steve?
Yes.
Lauren?
Yes.
Megan?
Yes.
Moving on. Wes, did you have anything for us on the engineer side?
I do, if you can bump back to me.
Yeah, I'll
Yep.
come back to it.
I appreciate that. Sorry, my daughter had a basketball game that I thought I could do it all and traffic didn't cooperate, so
The question is, did she win?
they did by 1.
Oh,
Good
And,
job.
it was a good game.
Did she make a basket?
No, I had to leave like with 5 minutes to go, and my wife didn't say she did, but she did get some good rebounds, and so
And she didn't foul out.
no, she doesn't play enough to foul out.
What age?
Junior high. There's like 20 girls on the team, so it's
Oh, yeah.
and they each get a little bit. But so yeah, thanks for coming back to me. Big one to talk about here is the Baldwin Street reconstruction. So when I wrote this afternoon, it looked like we were going to get bumped back a month because the DOT, if you recall last month, there was an environmental review question. There was a couple houses that they had identified as potential historical, so they wanted us to do this big environment or big architectural study to see if they were worth protecting. And anyway, so we kind of tried to go down that route to find there's some consultants that do that we usually hire on, and so we're trying to find someone to do that for us, and nobody could get to it. Most of them are just saying, yeah, our workload's too busy, can't do it. So we're like, shoot, what are we gonna do? So I got with our environmental guys and started talking about it. And turns out that the most of the study will recommend is that we do pre and post inspections, visual inspections of any existing damages, and do vibration monitoring during construction, because it's the house that's adjacent to the construction. So they're worried about the machinery and that. So I asked, well, what's the cost difference between just doing the vibration monitoring and doing the study to determine if we have to do the vibration monitoring? And he goes, well, they're about the same cost. So I said, well, just do the vibration monitoring and get these guys out of here. So we didn't get an answer. So it looked like our check plan date to stay on the March bid date is tomorrow. We're ready to go. We just needed this question answered. Otherwise, the DOT won't look at it. Didn't look like we were going to get an answer. So my letter here says we're looking like a May bid date. Turns out I got an email this afternoon that said, yes, that would be acceptable if you just do the monitoring. Then we're okay with that. No study. Great. So we are going in tomorrow with the check plans. So it keeps us on the March bid date for the project. So then we'll just include with your guys' agreement that that's the way we want to go, because there is some cost to the vibration monitoring. It's a requirement of the contractor. The contractor performs it. They hire a company that comes and does it for them. And so it'll be a deferred cost later during construction. So if you guys are good to go with that, that keeps us on the schedule of being able to build it in 2023. Otherwise, we may not even be able to get to build it in 2023. So
big question is, when would they start if this is the projected schedule?
Yeah, so the March bid date, if we get in for the check plans in December, May or maybe it's an April bid date, it would be constructed in 2023. So that'd be the first part of the year.
Are we looking at summer?
Yes.
We've got major problems with S23.
Yeah, it would be summer. There's some staging we have to look at. So one of the things we're looking at, that's another thing I didn't put on this list here, but one of the things I want to discuss with you is Spencer, who's doing the roadway design, had looked at some detour routes. So there is some possibilities that we can kind of do half and half of the roadway during certain stages of the construction, and put traffic onto what's the next street over? Main, yeah, and Main and up. So basically, we would allow them to go up to Main to North to connect in to bypass some of the closures. But the concern with that is if it's for truck traffic.
Yeah,
because those are chip seal roads that we don't really want to put big trucks on.
Yeah. Well, and it'd just be hard to make that turn.
Yeah. So
In a
what?
semi?
Yeah, it doesn't work with semi traffic. So what we're looking at doing is setting up a detour for truck traffic that goes out and around.
Right.
I mean, way out and around.
Right.
But that would be truck traffic only. Local traffic would be able to use the local traffic. Bus routes, if the bus route goes through there, we could have to look at that, but they would likely have to use the local route because they would be picking up, I'm assuming, in town. No, they go through town.
Yep.
They go through town to get out of town.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, what do you want done?
I want it all done during the summer, so that the last day of school, we're
Yeah.
still running buses. And the first day in the fall. We've had enough delays on projects.
Right, yeah.
But do you realize how big this project
I
is?
do.
There's no way it's gonna get done.
It could get done, at least for the bulk of it. I mean, we might be doing some cleanup stuff, but the paving through should be done summer. So hopefully by fall, it's just cleanup, patch up work.
It's a nightmare to try to detour buses.
Agreed. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. The buses would be in the fall anyway.
I did.
So you did.
It's only 3 blocks.
Yeah, just 3 blocks.
Fine.
Yeah.
We can do that in a day.
Or
Doug.
6 miles around, and they close it all.
So, and that's the other reason to want to get on a March date so we can get contractors there and get moving on it and not have to worry about it shifting.
Do we put penalty clauses in if it's not done by X date?
You can, and we do have liquidated damages in our standard contracts. So if it's, there's a completion date or a working days date, and if you don't make it, then there's liquidated damages. I will caution you, liquidated damages are hard to get. Get ready for a legal battle no matter what. It's just how the game's played. Even though they signed the contract and it says right there, liquidated damages, you go to enforce them and here come the lawyers.
But
So-
we haven't paid them yet, so they're getting it from us.
Yeah, exactly. Just be prepared. It's rarely something the contractor just goes, oh yeah, okay, sorry.
We understand Doug's concern,
Yes, definitely.
particularly with the experience that we've had
With the
with the
school.
construction at the
Yep.
school.
Yeah, so we do put liquidated damages in there, and the more you can show actual damages, the easier it is to get those, right? It's not a penalty. You gotta be careful. The lawyers tell us it's not a penalty. It's here's our actual damages. So if you can show the damages are, well, it's cost us more of the engineer's time. It's cost us more gas for the school buses to go around. I mean, if you can show actual damages and costs because the project wasn't done, those are easier to get. You're still going to have to fight for them, but they're easier to get. And it does give some incentive for the contractor to get done. Okay. There are other ways that you can do. You can put bonuses for early completion into a contract. Basically what that does is the contractor says, all right, I'll throw more people at it. If I know I'm going to get done here, I can get X number of dollars. DOT does that on projects. I've never done it. I think it's kind of, I don't know, you got to be prepared to have that in your budget first of all, because
Well, we would just pull it from Wes's salary.
yeah, that's right.
Wes's cut, yeah.
We'll hold a bake sale. So as we get closer to bid date, we can look at some of the contract terms on the schedule incentives, for sure. And we'll get Spencer in here. He does more road work. I do more pipeline work generally day to day. So DOT may have other stipulations on the transportation side that we can't do. But the expectation is it would be done in the construction season, wrapping up before school or very nearly after school starts.
Yeah, we're already hedging, see?
Yeah, well, I got a hedge because I can't control the contractor.
If we start
Or Mother Nature.
in
That too.
March, end of March, thereabouts, would some of the first work be the outlet to Indian Creek? Because that doesn't affect the road itself, but it still needs to be done.
Yeah, it can be. One thing we try to do is not dictate too much to the contractor of his staging unless there's a reason for it, because each contractor is different. And if he sees, well, if it's cheaper for me to do this first and that first, we want to let him have, you know, the reins of the horse to be able to do it the cheapest way so that we get a good price, right?
If we're telling them don't start the road
Until after school starts,
school
that is something we
and
can
be
do.
done
Okay.
before
Yes.
school starts,
Yep.
then that,
Yep.
we're not telling him to do the creek first, but
We're just saying, yes, and we can certainly do that where you have late start dates for certain portions or stages. Yes. Yep. Or there might be a part where, because the water main is one of the first things to go, right? On the road itself. So it might be that we can do a half lane closure and keep one way through and only D2 the other way. And if that works better with school bus routes to keep something open, maybe that, you know, that's doable. Maybe the inbound route is through town, but the outbound, you got to go the detour. I don't know. We'll have to look at that, but it'll be the other way around, the outbound. But
Just turn your flashing lights on. Just use that lane.
Yeah, just turn our reds and go.
yeah. But yeah. So there's things we can put anything we want in the schedule, in the start dates, and the completion dates. You just have to keep in mind that what we put in there, the contractor has to abide by, and if there's a cost to him to abide by that, then he's going to reflect that cost back in his pricing.
Bridge.
Yeah.
Overpass.
Fly over.
Fly over like
Yeah.
that. We'll just put a fly over.
did you get a copy of the fiscal year 2024 CIP?
I don't think I did.
Deb, can you run a copy of that for Wes? Since one of the projects on it is this project.
Yep.
That thing that you created?
Yeah. Because quite frankly, I may have done it wrong. Who knows?
While they're doing that, Wes,
Yep.
I don't see anything really else on here aside from high school improvements.
Yep.
We're waiting for them to incorporate their additions, looks like.
Yes, yeah. So that letter that I keep needing to get out, mostly done, and then Doug had some additional ones a couple weeks ago. And I need to get those added in. I apologize, I just haven't got around to getting those added in too. But and I want to get eyes on it too as I put these in here. So, but that is needs to go out here. I mean, they're not gonna be able to do much this year anyway. But
They
they
are
may.
working on the shed site.
Are they still working on the shed
physically
site? So it'd be
working
good
on
to,
it.
we definitely want to get in there before their guys off site. So, I will make a push to get
And
that out in the
appears
next couple of
the
weeks.
Markers are still outside the fence.
Well, yeah, and then if they build that in the wrong spot, tear it down, do it again. We told them, we've warned them, hassle, but.
And are the tubes underneath the drive
Yes,
are lower than the bottom of the ditch.
and the bottom of the ditch has come up, and that's one of the things, that's one of the big ones that I'm worried about is
Yes.
I don't believe that the ditch has been constructed per the plan grades, because when we had that big rain, it all silted in, and I don't think they dug it back out. I think they just seeded on top of what was there. So
Yes, they
that's
did.
why the tubes look low. The tubes are where they're supposed to be,
Right.
just the ditch bottom has come up. So they really need to dig that ditch bottom back down, because, and what we'll say in the letter, actually what I've said in the letter, the draft is, this is the roadway's primary means of stormwater conveyance, and there's an expectation of a certain capacity in that, and if that capacity has been reduced through the construction of the project, then that's a problem and you need to fix it. So
They could put a storm sewer in there if they want to.
certainly, yeah.
The temporary driveway that's north of the one that has the two tubes under it, which lines up with where the shed's gonna be built,
It's still in place and
still there.
yeah.
Added
So they've got
gravel.
they've got some work to do to tear that out.
Can that happen before, because right now, any rain that comes down is immediately diverted onto the road.
Yeah, that's a good, my pen here. It's a good point.
It's a dam in effect.
Yeah, it is. And that kind of goes to they've kind of not paid attention to the ditch as a stormwater conveyance, the whole project, so.
I know the residents on Woodlawn are very concerned about that.
Yep.
Also, before you came, I asked Deb if the $40,000 that were in the hole on the wastewater treatment plant project is how much we're going to be in the hole, because there are no more bills coming in, and she said there's no more bills coming in, so we're $40,000 in the hole. Is it because we some of the money that is in the sewer fund should have paid that $40,000?
That's a good question. Was that, did that get turned in for reimbursement through the SRF loan?
A lot of that was money before we even started.
Okay,
So they told me I couldn't turn those in.
couldn't turn those in? That's. That
Refund
usually,
last
usually if you, so did we have that money in they did not have that money in the loan that was closed? Okay. Usually we've not had issues with anything, as long as you have the P&D loan in place, then the P&D loan covers that. I need to talk to you this last month, but let's have a conversation on that, and maybe call Tracy at IFA and see what, because I'm not aware of there being, unless you've already done, everything on a project, but that was all part of the P&D loan, was my understanding of it, so. Okay.
If it turns out that some money is needed up to that $40,685.60, then I would want to move it out of the sewer fund so we can zero out the wastewater treatment plant facility fund and eliminate it. Because if the project's closed.
Yeah, the project's done. I got a little bit of coordination left to do with Tony on the O&M, but we're not putting anything more of that in place. In fact, I think it's probably complete, is what I say. So, yeah.
What was the reason for the water main break at the school?
I have no idea.
Okay, there wasn't any
Busted.
determined
I think there
failure.
was, yeah, I think there were actual two
breaks.
Two breaks. One, was it
One outside the wall and one inside the wall.
So it wasn't in the right of way, it was on school property. The right of way is the edge of the sidewalk. Out toward the street, and it was on the school side.
I believe so.
It was within 6 feet of the school building there, that east room. And
The
then
old
I don't-
boiler room.
the old boiler room.
Yeah.
Well, not the old boiler room, because it's south of there.
The
It's
old weight room.
the old weight room. Yeah.
In my time anyway.
Yes.
I think it's.
Were you able to print out a copy, Deb? Or should I share my copy?
Of what?
CIP.
CIP.
The
Yeah,
CIP.
I've got one.
Is this an extra one?
It's mine, but I can print it out again.
Okay. Or if you got it as a PDF, you can just send it to me too, and I can print out at home.
My specific question is, the Baldwin Avenue and Fifth Street project, which is the first one on the list.
So I'm just, I think.
Yes.
I wouldn't want to be.
$1.5 million, is that what we're looking at?
That's what we've got right now. We don't know where prices are gonna go. So,
That's
yeah. That's
current estimate.
Yep, yep.
$500,000 in GO bond.
Okay.
250,000, community development block grant,
no, 300.
300.
300.
$200,000 from our own road use fund, which would probably end up being a repaid loan at just like we did on Main Street here, where we repay ourselves. $300,000 on SUDAS.
SUDAS.
Isn't that
The roadway grant?
Yeah.
That's the, it's not SUDAS, it's STVG.
STVG.
And that one is 240,000.
240. Well, it kind of averages.
Yeah, so you probably had those switched a little bit there, yeah. Yep.
And then $250,000 estimate of the water fund. Roughly.
Yeah, I mean, if you wanted to, so if you wanted to look at it apples to apples, the CDBG grant has a 50-50 match requirement, and that's for the water system. So what we did is we took and we're like at $614,000 estimated for the water part of the project, which gives the ability for the CDBG to max out at 300, and then your part is 314. We were able to get it that high. The actual water main only costs about $400,000, but because it's underneath the roadway, we can count some of the roadway pavement as necessary for the water main project, which bumps the cost there. So if you wanted to take out of the water fund, the complete match funds would be like another 300,000, but the actual water main material itself and that construction is less than that. But what the CDBG application has is the 50-50, 300.
So if we leave it at 250,000 from the water fund, which
that would be reasonable.
Then some of the road use tax money would be paying off the difference
for the pavement that's over top of it. Yeah. These are big numbers and big rounded.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And then there's a diagram. I think I just copied something that you had. Kept it simple. There's where we're doing the road work. There's where we're putting in a storm sewer and an open ditch.
The only difference is the open ditch actually heads to the south after the end of Broadway or end of 5th Street.
The physical end of 5th Street?
Thereabouts the middle.
So toward the middle, and then it kind of.
So about right here, it cuts, and the storm sewer outlet's here, and then it follows a low spot down along the bank.
Oh, so it doesn't go as far.
Yeah, this route is the original project from 2009, 2011 update. But yeah,
Okay,
and then that's the other part of that project. We've got easement plats. So there's one property there that we'll need to get a drainage easement from for the outlet. So we've got easement plats started on that one. We'll be getting valuations shortly for the value of that property, and then come to you guys with what that value is and the offer to purchase that right away easement. It should be fairly inexpensive because it's floodplain. There's not a lot of use to the property. So, and I forget who owns that. That's
Tracy Christensen?
yeah.
yes, yeah. So then once we get that valuation, that offer, I think we had price in our contract to do that negotiation for you. If you would like to, if someone knows Tracy and wants to do that negotiation on the city's behalf, we don't have to be in that. We can save some money if you would like, or we can handle that and just take the whole thing, or we can use this and do the paperwork, whatever you want to do.
Tracy's a reasonable guy.
Yeah. So it might be worth it to, we'll give you the offer, you can take the offer and talk to them, and if you need assistance, then we can, we're on an hourly basis, so if you need us, you need us, if you don't, you don't.
Okay. So am I.
Hourly
12 cents
basis.
an hour.
Okay.
Anything else for us?
The only other thing I did have is there was a question on this high school truck loading Doug you had. I did go back and look at my notes. They did notify us that they were going to have large truck deliveries of 62-foot trucks. We asked how many, and they didn't know, and I don't have a documented answer. I don't know if we heard that in session or not when we approved it, but
I think that's the red truck, isn't it?
It's a semi.
Well,
it's a
there's,
semi.
there's no way to have a semi up back
No,
to that.
yep.
No, not when it's
Not
perpendicular
without-
to these.
Yeah. We knew it was going to block the roadway. The question we had at the time was, well, how often? I think,
And how long?
and how long it's going to be blocked. We didn't get an answer on that. At least that I don't have. My notes, I don't have anything in there.
For safety's sake too, that dock has no barrier at all. It's about a
And
6
that's
foot.
one of the things that's on the list of the
It's on the
letter,
letter,
because that
okay.
was part of their site plan, and that was one of our big issues was, hey, this has to be protected, and yeah, it needs to get on there. Yep. So,
Scott Oaks on Rock Creek, nothing there, you said?
no, at least not with us. Our development group guys, they have our scope fee and agreement. If they want to use our services, all they have to do is call and we're on it, but we have not heard anything.
Yeah, he's reached out to me, but they sent anything out to
Yeah.
the city for.
So,
And remember, they proposed something similar to what we've seen. It's going to require a zoning ordinance change in order to allow those twin houses, or I think they call them that, duplexes that can be sold separately. And I know Huxley has some of that, and so, and there may be some other towns.
What's the zone? What does it have to be used on this?
Well, it's zoned, it can be zoned R2, but what we have right now is if you're building a duplex, then you have to have certain side yards, and
That's right.
and if you sell each one individually, the ordinance doesn't make allowances for that, and so you wouldn't be able to, as soon as you tried to sell one individually, then you'd be in violation of the zoning ordinance because you don't have the right site.
Yeah.
And so I don't know exactly how that is handled. Maybe we should be asking our, fancy planning people in Marshalltown to, help us with that.
and we can probably find you some example zoning ordinances too from our development group and where they've done it before. They might.
And maybe we have to do it has to be done through a planned unit development, which is an overlay zone to the R2, which would allow it. We just have to see what the examples are. We have to get adopted before we can approve the plan.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Which takes at least 3 to 4 months.
All right.
Okay.
Anything else?
That's all I had, unless you have any questions for me.
No. Good to
All right.
go.
Thank you.
All right. 7C, discussion and action on EMS Tahoe payment fund. As you read in Scott's EMS report, the Tahoe is in. Unfortunately, we did not get the grant due to the fact that the city makes too much money to receive that grant.
Kidding me?
So now we have to come up with what funds we want to pull that out of.
How much?
I think it's 30. Do you remember?
39 something.
39,984.
And that's for just the Tahoe.
Yeah, how much?
Another they were saying roughly 13,000 for radio, lights, cages.
So if additional 13,000, it would get
52.
completely completed.
Yep.
$53,000.
Yep.
Roughly.
Yep. I sent an email out to Mark with
Mark Rystor.
yes, with Iowa.
Township trustees.
Yeah. Indian Creek trustee. Looked at my email today. I put a space in his email address.
So it didn't go.
However, the other thing, if you guys want to pull out your treasurer's report, on account 016, which is the Washington Township Trust, that would be Polk County, and we get that money comes through Washington Township. They get a say, but they don't get a say, if that makes sense. The money just comes to us, and we get to utilize it for emergency services. You can see that account balance is sitting at $174,000, and we have already received for this year, wasn't it $45,000 or $50,000?
I don't remember.
For this year, somewhere around that for this year, and that was the first payment. So that's why that gets so high so quick. So without having an answer from Mark, my suggestion is we go ahead and pay for that out of the Washington Township Trust, and then at a later date we can discuss if we want to backfill that with Indian Creek and city funds.
I do not favor that suggestion. Any action that we take that has to do with the fire and EMS needs to be done through the fire board. We can certainly indicate that we are willing to front end the cost through cash balances in that account, but without an agreement from Indian Creek Township that they are going to pay off a portion of that cost, what we would be doing is saying, well, we're going to buy it, and no guarantee that they're going to pay their share. It just kind of destroys the whole concept of the joint fire board. So
I agree. I think too, we did look at the box that is there now for the ambulance box.
Yeah.
Was purchased by the city and Indian Creek, if I remember correctly,
Right.
as well. So keep that in mind.
I think I would rather see the council approve earmarking $53,000 payment from Fund 16 so that we can pay for it, but then setting a meeting over the next 7 days with Indian Creek Township as a joint fire board, and making sure that they're on board, that they're willing to pay their 30% or whatever their percentage is going to turn out to be, that we would be paying ours, and that Washington, and that we would commit Washington Township to pay theirs. And it would be a loan from Washington Township to the two of us, which we would then pay back over a number of years. So, all of that would be figured out at the fire board meeting, how many years we'll spread it over, which would mean we've got to come up with a certain dollar amount in our budgets that would go toward it every year. They would have to agree to that. Maybe they have cash on hand to pay theirs right off the top.
Yep.
But we don't know that until we meet.
So I'll take that as a motion to earmark it.
Yes, I move that we make available from Fund 16 the $53,000 to pay the vendor for the van and the repair or the upgrade. Subject to meeting with the fire board to get concurrence.
I'll second.
Motion by Steve, second by Doug. Discussion. I will also say that we have not even received the actual invoice. They haven't even requested money for that yet.
And that's good because generally you get the invoice, you have 30 days to pay.
Yeah. And it is sitting in the fire station now. Keys are put away and it is locked, so it can't be used. It is white though, so your whole idea of a public safety officer. Put the cage in the back.
Double duty.
Yeah, stick you in there and you can start writing tickets. It'd be great. Then you don't have to drive the bus anymore.
And dog catcher.
Yeah, and dog catcher. Yeah. Any other discussion? Oh, and the other thing too with that, I did tell Scott, let's hold off on the $13,000 until we run 4 radios and lights and sirens and all that, until we get all this figured out as far as payment wise goes. So
Yeah, as soon as we get it figured out, which hopefully we can get set up in the next week, whether we have to have a special night meeting or a weekend meeting. Once that's committed, then we should get it get it fixed as fast as
any other
possible.
discussion?
Get it functional.
Hearing none. Ken?
Yeah.
Steve?
Yes.
Lauren?
Yep.
Megan?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Perfect. Item 7D, discussion on water sewer rates ordinance.
What are we discussing?
I don't see it. I didn't see anything in our packet.
Ordinance number 332.
And I put the ordinance in
It
there.
was a one pager.
I think it's, oh wait,
No,
there it is.
two
Okay.
staple.
Are we just making sure that this lines up to what we need? Oh, I know what it's for.
I'm glad
I was gonna
somebody
say,
does.
you have
Deb-
the
thanks for
letter.
reminding me.
Deb gave you the look.
That's what made him remember.
You know what?
Yeah. Was there a letter in here? Maybe he didn't send it.
No, he was gonna give it to you.
He did not.
Okay.
He said, just wash it,
Okay.
but
So, one of the questions that was brought up was why, I know the answer to this, but I want the council to hear it as well. If somebody snowbirds, or if someone's gonna be gone from their house at a long, extended period of time, they can shut their water off, but we will still charge them for sewer. Now, that was put into place because we have this $4 million sewer project that we have to pay for. Are there any variances that we as a council wish to give? And if so, I think we have to go through a whole ordinance change in order to do that. So this is a discussion on what your guys' thoughts are on how to go about that, if we even want to do it. Does that make sense? Or is it too discombobulated?
The sewer thing, sorry, Megan. go ahead.
No, go ahead. You go ahead.
The sewer, the $60 minimum on the sewer, I guess I understand. It's not, yes, I understand, because if you're gonna shut your sewer off, you're gonna pay more than $60 to shut your sewer off. You're gonna dig it all up and shut it off. Why would you wanna shut your sewer off,
Can't shut
right?
it off.
You just, you can't, I don't think that's advice. I don't think the water, though, help me understand the minimum charge of the 22 of shutting the water off.
The customer service restrooms for a month.
Because if a resident wants to shut their water off, they shouldn't have to pay a fee at all, right? If there's no water going
Do they
from,
expect,
wait a minute, if there's no water coming from the water line to their home, but I also don't understand the shut off to the house, the shut off to the road. So I was just hoping somebody would help me understand.
Steve?
there is a curb stop out of the road,
Yes.
and the way the ordinance is written now, I believe that if somebody wants to have that turned off, that we would go out there and turn it off at the road, and it would cost like what, $30 or something like that. Deb, you know?
22,
Huh?
22.
22.
Oh, or to shut them off is 35.
And to turn it
That's if they
back,
didn't pay their bill, right?
and to turn it back on is
So that's not
another
22
fee.
a month.
Oh, that's a one time.
It's a one-timer. There
And
might be some-
if it's shut off at the street, then there is no service to the house. And wouldn't there be no charge at that point, Deb?
No,
No what?
according to this thing.
A 22 per
It
month
says per month.
shall be charged despite any temporary absence of the customer.
So it cost me 35 to get it shut off, and I'm still paying
And you're
22 a
still paying
month.
22 a month.
Is that right?
Right.
Well, we talked about not charging to have it shut off at the street. Because if somebody's gonna be gone for a while, it would be a service to have the water shut off so that if the water line freezes,
breaks.
you know, if it freezes in the house, you'd have all kinds of damage. And if we're charging regardless, then why are we charging to have it shut off? That's a safety issue. The reason that we're charging, whether they're using it or not, is do they expect the water system to be there when they come back and be turned on? And the obvious answer is yes, they would expect it to be there. Every year, we sit down and we look at what is the fixed cost of having a sewer plant or a water plant. And the fixed cost is what we would have to pay if we had absolutely no customers. If we had absolutely no customers, we still have to maintain the water system, we still have to maintain the sewer system, so that when somebody wants to use it, it's there. So we have a fixed cost, and then we have a variable cost. And the variable cost is, you know, you run the pumps, takes electricity, takes chemicals, and all that other stuff. So we have a fixed cost, a variable cost, and whether you are using the water or not, the fixed cost is shared equally by everyone in town. whether it's a sewer plant or the water plant, because the expectation is that you'll be able to turn the water on at some point in time and have a water. It costs money to have the plant. Now, we can certainly say that instead of 330 water customers, we're going to plan for only 300 water customers, because we're going to have snowbirds, people who shut their water off, and that means that the 300 people who don't turn their water off are paying for those who do turn their water off.
Mm-hmm.
And that's certainly a choice that the council can make. How do you want to do it?
If when they come back, then is there a charge to turn it back on?
I think we should drop the charges for shutting it off for if they are leaving and they want to have the water turned off when they're gone, and it's for an extended period of time. I mean, we don't want to be going out, turning it off and turning it back on every week. But if they're going to be gone for
3 months,
3 weeks even, we should. I would be in favor of not having a charge, simply because it makes it safer for the houses if the water's shut off.
Right.
So is that a motion?
That's what sorry.
No, keep going.
I don't know, what does everybody else think?
Well, I can turn it off right at my house too, where it comes in the house, so I'm not gonna have any problem in the house.
Yeah, everybody has a shut off in front of the water meter. I have one.
Mm-hmm.
So
and it doesn't work. I don't have water.
I don't have sewer water.
and if that pipe were to break on the inside of the house, then your basement fills up with water. So the difference would be is if you're shutting it off on the outside of the curb stop, the house doesn't get flooded. That water just goes in your yard.
The chance you're
We
gonna take
had
is the
a
water
fourplex
sitting
there
there
that had
It's still freezing.
water line
Water.
break at the service line before it got to the fourplex, and it flooded the crawl space underneath and caused all kinds of damage. So that can certainly happen to a house. You get a water line break outside the house, nobody's there to watch it, saturates the soil, leaks into your basement, ruins the paneling in your basement. Of course, I don't have paneling.
Any other discussion? Steve, was that a motion that you made?
What does the council think? I would certainly support it.
I would think that if you could shut your water off at the house anyway, and you're still gonna pay the $22, no matter what.
Yep.
But you ain't gonna use any water.
Nope.
Right? So is there a sewage fee too then, plus the 22 on top of water?
Yeah.
Okay.
60
60, so they're paying $82.
Right.
a month. Minimum.
And all of that can be recalculated. But that would just mean that the people who aren't going on vacation are paying for those that are.
And we would end up with a surplus, because even though we're saying, okay, say we have 330 households, we're gonna say, okay, we're only going to say that 300 of them are gonna be serviceable all year long. Well, your minimum is gonna go up, but it's also gonna go up for those 30 people for those 9 months out of the year, right?
We can average it in on the average number of customers that we have year round. So there's no little or no surplus. We check that every year. Every year we look at how much cash we have, at what the costs are to operate both water and sewer plant. If there is a more cash than what we anticipated, then that goes toward a lower rate the next year. So we try to keep it balanced with no more cash in the account that is needed.
Any other thoughts? Any motions on the floor?
Well,
What was your thought, Megan?
Well, I think that you shouldn't have to pay to have it shut off at the street. However, if you can shut it off at your house, then I guess if I had a house in Arizona and I was going to Arizona, I would shut it off at my house.
Right, and there would be no issue.
There'd be no issue.
Right.
So
But they don't wanna pay the $82 for not using any
and
water.
to me, because I have a very close person to me that is in the sewer business as well, that does not seem unreasonable. You still have to maintain all the lines. You still have to maintain all the pipes and everything in the street. Because when I come back, I want to turn on my water and I don't want something coming up out of the drain or out of the pipes that is gonna alarm me. So that to me, 60 seems a little bit much, but if that's what was agreed upon, then that's what was agreed upon. But no, I think you should be charged something, even though you are not using anything.
Even with electricity, you're still, I mean, I agree. Because
Right.
no matter what, if you're off the grid, you
Right.
still gotta pay that $19.85 for that wire in your house.
The base fee, yeah.
Mhm.
So, I mean, it's the same thing.
Mhm.
in the next month and a half, Tiana will provide us with those magical spreadsheets again that we all love so much. And in there, it'll list all of the line items that are fixed costs, including our debt service. And we'll see whether or not $60 is the number, $62 is the number, maybe whatever it's going to be. But we will have the detail, and we'll have a chance to take a look at it, and we will have to act on it.
Mhm.
And because of our debt service, that's why the 60 is so high.
It's
Right.
the
Big chunk of it.
majority
Sure.
of it is the debt service.
Mhm.
Anything else on that item?
Anybody who wins the lottery and pays off the
Sewer
sewer
plant?
would be
$1
loved.
million.
Put a plaque on the
names.
sewer for them.
Yes, well,
Well, that was exactly my first thought if I
we'll
won the
put
lottery.
a
Okay.
plaque in the sewer line.
Well, if I would've won $1 billion, so $2 billion, we gotta talk about it.
7F, discussion and action on tree assessment project. Billy went ahead and put together the full tree assessment. On here, there's quite a bit of trees. You can see the list of dead or dying trees on the city right away includes 43. The level 1 assessment that for pruning to mitigate risk, there's 7 on that one. Dead, damaged, or decaying trees on private property that pose a risk to city property, 10 stumps. Stumps to be ground, not marked, those are 9 stumps. Trees to be removed at the park, 64.
Wow.
Good.
39 of those in the the city park are ash trees, 2 at Legion Park are ash trees. Scout Park, 15 of those are ash trees,
Jeez.
plus 1 cottonwood. And then the cemetery, 1 pin oak, and then 6 ash trees. And if you look at this, the majority of the issue is
Ash is the word.
A tree on Metcalf and 210 didn't make this list.
There were several that I thought would that aren't on here, so this is minimal, I'm afraid.
I'm gonna call the DOT on that tree then. If I can't get it removed that way.
Does anybody have any questions in regard to that need to be passed on to Tony and or Billy?
And we hired an arborist, an expert who could evaluate this because we felt that it would certainly be a problem. And so there's over 100 trees that are dead or dying between the right of way and the city parks. And we had in our capital improvements program tree removal, and we just said remove dead street trees. Well, the trees that need to be removed in the city park are also a public safety issue. We don't want to have dead trees where people are recreating, because if it falls on them, we're liable. We had estimated $20,000 because we thought there'd be 20 trees. There's over 100 trees, and so I think we should be looking at a tree removal of $100,000 of cost potentially, with $100,000 coming out of local option sales tax, and maybe a combination of that and the emergency fund and whatever else we need. This is a public safety issue, and we should probably start on it as soon as possible, get some bids, and maybe they'll come in with this quantity at less than an average of $1,000 a piece. So it won't take $100,000, but we won't know until we go out for bid.
Do we get to do some program like take a tree, leave a tree, like take a penny, leave a penny?
Yeah.
Because that's a lot of trees. Our park is going to look.
Can we
Pretty
reach
bad.
out to our Story County supervisors at any point? Do you think that they would assist us in finding grant money or?
I think what we need to do is include the project in our capital improvements budget, some of it the current year, some of it the next year, and then definitely talk to the supervisors. Every town is facing this.
Right.
Whether they know of any grant money or not, we won't know until we talk to them. But, everybody has ash trees. That's kind of, I know Ames has been struggling with this same issue, trying to take down trees which is why a lot of the tree removal services are all tied up, because they're taking out ash trees all over the place.
I constantly see people asking, who can I call to take my tree down?
Good
Get on the list.
But to get on the list, we have to have the money budgeted so we can pay for it. We need to get the bid out, bid documents out. So now that we have a list, somebody can actually look at it and drive around. We have the trees marked. They can give us a bid. Now's the time to do it.
The good news is we have 3 tree companies in town.
Do we offer disposal down at our yard waste
Absolutely.
as part of it?
Mhm.
So that might help the cost
And
as well.
we may have to restrict the yard waste, to, from anyone who's not removing city trees. So that it's,
Might have,
with this many, it may be full of trees being removed under the city contract.
Could we do a derecho type thing? Would we kind of spread it out a little bit, or does it all have
I'll
to
chip
go
it.
in?
is
Well,
the
it's
DNR gonna
additional
require
cost.
that? Because, I mean, but start burning
Ratio
100
they do.
trees, they're gonna be wondering where the smoke's coming from.
Yeah, we're probably gonna have to spread it out a little.
I mean, they may just chip it.
Do you remember?
A lot of that was greenwood trees,
Green trees, yeah.
and most of these are dead.
Do you remember, Deb, how much it was for the wood chipper to come in,
Or
the derecho?
that was free because it went through, Homeland Security.
We can certainly look into that. Anything that we can do to keep the price down, we need to be doing. But we need to be proactive enough to have a project to avoid any liability issues.
Yeah.
Anything else on that item? Don't think there's really any action that we need to take other than,
Move forward.
yeah.
So moving forward means that we're going to
Those bids?
use this document to ask for bids.
Bring up a bid,
And
so exactly what we want.
And that, is that something that we would ask the mayor to do, or ask our engineer to do for us? Or
As far as what?
Posting and reposting a bid? No,
I think we post it locally first. I mean,
Yeah.
you got those.
Right, the 3 companies in the area.
Yeah.
And the other one's not too far away, we certainly want to hit local.
So you'll write that up.
Okay.
I was just trying to find out who was doing what.
Yeah.
Next item, discussion action on hiring a financial auditor. We do have one sealed bid here. So it's gonna make your guys' job pretty.
This will be tough.
easy.
It'd be $1 million.
Jesus.
Definitely seal.
And the winner is?
The tape.
Baller, yep, that one. MK and Co. It is for. Page 8. Here it goes. $4,500. Fiscal year ending June 30, 2022.
And do we need to act on it tonight?
I would say so, that way we can get it started.
What do you know about it?
Yeah.
Absolutely nothing. I know that they were the only person that sent us a bid.
Which doesn't mean
Doesn't
that they're
help us.
qualified or that we would want to have them.
It's just a bid, right? That's not a contract of any
Right.
kind. That's just a.
Do we
Well,
know,
we can definitely.
does it include information about other projects that they've done, some contacts that we can make to verify? mean, we're gonna be meeting again, what, next Monday?
Wait for
And then a couple weeks later. So
Um,
we can still get it approved this.
Yeah, they have, their proposal, with some, background on the company. It's a local firm and Iowa professional, limited liability company providing certified public accounting services predominantly to local communities in Iowa.
Did they list any?
References.
They do have qualifications.
If I remember right, there are a couple of cities that use those on ClerkNet.
That have used the same company you said?
Yeah. I'll look that up
Municipal
tomorrow.
utilities of Centerville, Osceola, Sheraton, Knoxville, Winterset, audit cities of Centerville, Osceola, Stewart, Albia, Belle Plaine. Agreed upon procedures, Prairie City, Earl and Corden, Dakota City, Eddyville, 28E agreements. They worked on that with several cities.
Let's say we call, but we asked the mayor to call a couple of smaller communities on the list where they've done a general audit and just find out
How they
what,
felt.
what the community feels, and then we'll put it back on the agenda for approval at either the meeting next Monday night or the one at the end of the month.
It's a motion made by Steve,
Second.
second by Doug. Discussion. Hearing none. Steve,
Yes.
Lauren,
Yes.
Megan,
Yes.
Doug,
Yes.
Ken.
Yeah,
7H, discussion on resolution to appoint a member and alternative member to Polk County 911 Service Board. This is our annual resolution that we have to do. Typically, it is both the chair and council person of the emergency.
Safety committee.
Sounds good.
So moved.
Ken and Steve.
Moved by Steve,
Second.
second by Lauren. Discussion. Hearing none. Lauren,
Before we
Okay.
vote, have you attended any meetings, Ken?
No.
Have they notified you of any meeting?
I haven't seen one.
Okay, I haven't attended any or been notified of any either. So Ken would be the primary and I would be appointed as the alternate. And that the mayor be listed as a secondary alternate member.
perfect. That is, now Lauren,
Yes.
Megan,
Yes.
Doug,
Yes.
Ken,
Yeah,
Steve.
Yes.
Okay, action on resolution appointing mayor pro tem, council committees, officials, and employees. You can see it's the same as what we had last year.
Anybody want to change committees?
Nope. But can I get another E in my name?
absolutely.
Where would you like it?
Or the A?
Oh, okay. I didn't know if you wanted
It'll
at
be
the
E again.
end,
So you want an E
or
and
between
an
the
A?
two G's.
I was like, no A. And
No
then
way.
E.
I like to buy it.
You can forget the order, but we can do that.
I like to buy an E.
I think that was a so moved by Steve, is that what you said?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then
Second.
Megan, discussion.
What if somebody did want to change in the future?
Well, now's the time to do
Now
it.
the time.
Which one would you like, which committee would you like to be on?
The EMS
I
chief
think
is
it-
no longer Tanya Leslie, right?
Is this the old one though? Are we just looking
Nope,
at this
it's
for referral reference?
Yeah.
Oh,
Did I miss that one?
No, I think you're okay.
Yeah, it should say 2022 XX.
I think we're just looking
Yeah.
at this for reference.
For reference.
Well, it's on for
But
action,
now we
isn't it?
can, yeah, it's
So-
action.
And it's December. We typically approve this in December so that we can start out the new year. Is the law firm still called Caldwell, Brierly, and Chalupa?
Yes.
Okay,
I don't know about Wes, so
Snyder and Associates.
And instead of Tanya Leslie, it is
Scott Johnson.
Scott Johnson. So did you want to do?
I think it was just a general question.
Oh,
Say if somebody didn't want, like Ken didn't want to give up his,
How about if Ken wanted to give up?
but, okay.
Don't give up, Ken.
Don't
give up.
Give it up.
he's not a quitter.
Could you can't change, say, in the middle of it?
Sure.
Or when you
Sure.
can?
Yeah.
Okay.
it's only a resolution.
Oh.
And the council can adopt a new resolution at any time, as long as you have 3 votes. So, it's here to provide some consistency so that staff knows who to go to, so the public knows who to go to. And if we want to change it next month, we certainly can.
No,
It just
I'm
has
happy
to
with
be brought up for reconsideration by anybody who votes in favor of approval.
Okay. Nope, I think,
You're good?
If you're gonna be really a stickler.
Okay,
I mean,
so I think we've already done the motion second.
With the
That was
correction,
discussion.
with the correction of Megan being
Megan.
spelled MEGEG.
Double G.
and
MEGGEN.
Oh, sorry.
Not Meg again.
Megan.
Meg again? So I think we're on to Doug.
Yes.
Ken?
Is this something?
Yes.
Oh, this
Steve?
right?
Yes.
No, we changed it to Scott Johnston.
Yeah.
Lauren?
Yes.
Megan?
Yes.
Hey, Ron.
Here goes.
7J, discussion and action on budget planning for fiscal year 23. I don't know if we want to get into that. Our next meeting would be the 12th and then the 27th, if we want to. How about it?
Oh, I say we
Yeah,
just
band
keep
concert on
that
the 12th.
for the 12th.
High school band concert next week.
Yes,
Oh,
we do.
I do
And I
too.
have a second grader who had their first concert tonight. So I shouldn't miss
You
them.
could have made that.
You could have went.
Not at 6:30.
Oh,
Yeah.
you sure
They were
couldn't?
going early.
No. You couldn't.
They were doing good.
What if you move it to the 19th?
What day is that?
It's a Monday.
The next Monday.
I think I'm good.
Monday?
I just can't do Tuesdays and Fridays or next Monday. Let's see.
It's a special meeting. How about the
And I
13th?
honestly didn't even. Oh wait, no, I have something. Oh no, I don't. It's Hanukkah that day, guys. Well, no,
But
it
it's
showed
it's
us
only the
busy, and I'm
first-
like, what do I have
It's
on
only the
that?
first day of Hanukkah.
It is just the first
The
day,
first day.
So
And-
there'll
and
only be
on the
one
19th?
candle lit. So
and I'm
it's-
not Jewish, so that's okay. I won't be doing anything. I would prefer
6
we move
o'clock
it
6:00,
On
19th.
the 19th.
on the 19th.
6 o'clock on the 19th.
Do you have any problems with that, Deb, since you have to be here also?
Who knows?
Okay,
So nothing next week then.
right.
Are we gonna try and get a fire board meeting sometime as their proposed date?
Yes, I think the mayor should contact the trustees, see if we can get it set up with them as soon as possible. And since we don't have a bill, there's less of a
Not quite as
pressure
urgent.
on us. Maybe if they're willing to do it on the 19th, we could take care of that as the first item.
Okay.
And then go into budget after that.
Perfect. And then are we still thinking about the 27th?
Yeah, tentative, it's on the schedule if we need it.
19th?
And 6 o'clock
Is
for
that still 6 o'clock
everything.
too?
Yeah,
Wait, what did we say? The 27th?
That's changing, if we need it.
If
It's
Okay,
just on, but
okay,
it's
because I was
just
gonna say
on.
that's a Tuesday, I'll have basketball, but it's all right.
There we go, the Wednesday. maybe.
We preferably, or hopefully won't have.
Yeah.
Okay.
I hope.
Anything else? Item 7J. Perfect. Item 8A, council mayor report. Steve, you're up.
I don't think I have anything.
Perfect. Lauren,
I
you're up.
do, I'm sorry. Back to speeding off at the corner of Fifth and Myers Street. It would be
T10.
Highway
210.
210.
And
East of
Myers
town.
is the very far
It's the first street in town.
first street in town.
Yep, yep.
And that's 45 to 55 in that area. It's posted.
35.
Zone 35.
Not until the bottom of the hill,
No,
coming in.
I don't think
It's
Wow.
not
so.
zone 35 right there.
No.
Nope.
Mm-mm.
So it's state
You know, we
from the
can,
bottom of the hill all the way up to the stop sign,
the
which
city,
is 55.
the city limits
I think it's 45. I think
runs
it's
It's
right
right-
down the
right
center of the
past
road. And so it's a joint state and city, since it's a highway, it's the state sets the speed limit.
Oh boy, I
And
didn't realize that.
Mhm.
Coming into town, it's the bottom of the hill, it's 35.
Well, what,
And it's 45 on out east, about 100 yards. It costs us $2,000 to get the state to move those signs
no,
out.
I'm not talking
You're going
about
out of
the
town?
highway, I'm talking gravel.
okay, on
Oh,
the gravel,
Gravel,
that's
right?
between us and the county, and
That's
that's
county road.
35.
Yes, the
Okay.
gravel,
The gravel
Myers
road's
Street,
35.
heading east and west.
They're traveling 55 miles an
They're
hour.
guesstimating at 50,
I would say so,
all the
too.
residents are complaining.
Yeah.
Let's stop doing the dust treatment. I'll slow people down.
Well,
And that piss everybody off, they'll look there.
but I do have a
That was a
question,
bad
because
suggestion.
that's a gravel road, right on the outskirts of town. You know, South Street, yours,
Yep.
or that one, that's zoned a different mile per hour. 25. Is that because it's closer to town or closer to?
No, we just like it at 25, so we want to keep it there.
Well, I understand that.
I don't even have a house there, I just have land there, but I
No,
like
I
it.
get it. I get it.
But the real question is gonna be, does it really matter what you put that
No,
sign
because
on?
they're not
They're not
following
They're
the
not gonna
rules.
follow it. No.
But I did, there was a question on as to
And the
why
biggest
there's.
safety concern that she has, I think, because my wife likes in the summertime to walk that trail, and so do a
Yeah,
lot of people.
You got a trail right there.
That, where Dusty lives,
It's blind.
which is in the, out of the
Speedboat
city,
house. Mhm.
okay? Coming up over that hill, they come flying
Oh, yeah,
from
I know.
Plunkett's 55 mile an hour over across that trail.
It's scary.
Mhm.
And I don't know what, besides I've had conversations with Story County Sheriff's Office and keep rolling in the reports to them to try to get this on paper to make the patrol come out. But what, I mean, you're right. What
But
is
they
it
have
gonna
to
do?
sit right between Myers and South Street, because anything further than South Street is not, I mean, it's Story County.
Well, the bike trail. The bike
Right.
trail's taken off
Bike
of
trail.
the
Yeah.
The
city.
bike trail.
Because the
It'd be a
bike trail
great
is
hiding spot.
actually the city line.
Right.
Anything north of that bike trail on the west side is city line.
So if you have any advice on where I should go with this, I'm happy to keep
Stop
making the
sticks.
reports. Stop sticks. Keep making the reports, call Story County, try to get patrol cars down there parked. Is that the right angle to go or right move forward?
Yeah.
And that goes for anybody. If anybody has gravel speeding, I don't know.
I think speeding is like our biggest issue. You have it on Meyer Street. You have it on Bowling. Hell, you even have it on Main.
Sure.
You have it on North, and we put
All
stop
over
signs
the
at
place.
every corner on North Street, and they still love to see how fast they can get going from the dead end to like Main Street. And they just blow through the stop signs that are there.
That's why I
So
kind of like Baldwin
That's
the
why the
way
county
it
needs
is,
to get
because
it.
it almost forces you to slow down.
They write a few tickets, that will help.
Anyway,
it'll
that's what I
help
got.
the
I don't
few
wanna-
that get the tickets. That's all.
That's all, yeah.
That's all I
Well,
have.
We're
I
just
just wanna
around.
know
Don't-
what,
That's hallway talk at school.
Speed limits are established by ordinance, and that's the only way you could ticket. And currently, the DOT has speed limits for the business district at 20 miles an hour, residence or school district at 25 miles an hour, and suburban district at 45. And then we have special speed limit areas, school zone 20, and we have a special 25 mile an hour speed zone from Main Street, on Main Street from Railway North to the mid block between Second and Third.
25, you said, Steve?
Yes. So the DOT has posted some 30 mile an hour and some 35 mile an hour speed limits. And they may be able to enforce those. If we want to have a speed limit, then we need to post it. Or when we annexed all the way to Myers, we had a meeting with the county, and the agreement, well, the county has like 50 miles an hour on gravel roads, because that's what
State law.
state law says.
Right.
They agreed that they would post that stretch in Maxwell, which is half in the county and half in the city.
Right.
Because we wanted to have 25 miles an hour on the city, and they wanted to have 50 miles an hour on the county, which doesn't work. So we agreed to split the difference and have, I think, 35 miles an hour on Meyer Street inside the city limits.
So I was gonna bring this up. Thanks for reminding me. I never have to bring this up. What's to stop us from buying these things and sticking them on, coming into town, on the west side of town, coming in that way and coming in on Main Street?
Is it permanently posted?
Yep. Just stick it right below the speed limit sign. I mean, we would probably have, I'm assuming we'd have to get permission from the DOT, but I don't know why they would say no. Wes?
Yeah, if it's a DOT sign, we would need to run that past the DOT. If it's just it's not changing anything, it's just a notice posting. I'd be surprised if they had an issue with it, but we can certainly reach out to them and find out.
Or what if we put it on our side of the road?
Well, it's
Well, you're still in
it's
DOT
two
right
state
away though, so
highway.
you need the permission to.
Does that include on Main Street as well?
The safe bet would be to notify them.
Yeah.
I mean, we could get a couple of these and,
But, I
I
mean,
think the most that would probably be good for the city would be 3 of them, and that would be the north side, east side, south side.
I've seen a lot of small towns that have them.
Polk City does, and I feel like every time that I go through Polk City, people are
I feel like
slamming
I'm
on their
gonna get-
brakes.
I feel like I'm gonna get a ticket.
Especially when it gets the bright white
Yeah,
flashing
that's what
light
this
at you,
one
it looks like a
has.
camera flashing.
I know that some
Don't
of
ask me how I know
those
that.
say they're enforced by photo enforced or something. I don't know how that goes, but
It doesn't
We
anymore.
could be our own flag.
well, Welcome to Maxwell.
Do
Does
not
it,
want to be 5.
does it record?
Stealth mode allows the sign to collect baseline traffic data while speed display appears blank to the motorist.
So it does collect whether it's displaying or not, probably.
Yes.
Well, it would certainly give us data, give the sheriff data as to whether or not people are speeding and at what time of day. Megan, you're probably, you're more familiar with heading out of town on Baldwin than I am.
Mhm.
I know I'm always within the speed limit.
Good for you.
That
is quite
And I haven't had anybody run over me yet, so how, is
I
it just a
am within
time
the
of day
speed
thing?
limit to the trailer park.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Within the city.
And
within the city.
then Iowa Center, I
So
definitely
what do you
slow
think
down
the
there.
city of Iowa Center should do? With
Iowa
that
Center.
45 mile an
Yeah.
hour mark?
Oh, I think they
The same
should.
thing.
They should put a blinker up.
Oh, no, I do
Is
slow
it-
down there because I have seen
Maybe.
cops out there,
Is
especially
it,
on Misty and Mitch's road.
Yes,
They
they do.
love
Yes,
that little
Yes.
is it
little
worth,
jaunt.
spending $4,000 to, do one on the north side, heading out of town?
Well,
I think coming
Coming into town, I think you're gonna be.
I think it is a great idea. Do I think it is gonna improve anything? No, because I think the people that are doing the speeding are gonna keep doing the speeding. The minute they find out that that's not really getting reported to any
There's no teeth in it.
law enforcement agency.
If the thing keeps track of the time of day,
Mhm.
keeps track of the speed,
Mhm,
even though it doesn't keep track of who's doing it,
mhm.
then we would have data to sit down with the sheriff and saying, we are consistently seeing
in. And that data would be every
speed,
day,
somebody speeding,
not just when they put
at a certain time of the day, can you
Sit a car there.
have a car there? We would have data so that we could enforce. Right now, we don't have anything.
You know, it's even better. We have this brand new white Tahoe that's got black wheels that you could stick right beside this
Yeah,
thing.
just park it there and make it look like a.
Make it look like a radar car.
got a piece of 4x8 plywood, you can do the
I
same
think you're
thing.
underestimating the people that are out there driving. I don't know.
And we can make this
I don't
sign
think they're-
thing another agenda item on a different meeting. My two questions out of this, and I'm sorry to turn this into a rant. What's the difference? You were onto something when you were reading that, the difference between the 35 zone and the 25 zone.
And I was gonna say as soon as we had a minute here, you gotta remember too that there's city buildings on South Street. So
that's what I
I'm
assumed.
guessing maybe it has something to do with is that considered the water plant? Yeah.
The water.
So that's the water plant is my guess as
Yeah.
to why it's lower
Yep.
than most
I just
gravel
wanted
because
to make
it's
sure I had an
a
answer
city
sometime.
building,
Okay.
government building. I don't know.
We can, since Myers is half city and half county, we can approach the county and say, we would like to post for the 25-mile-an-hour speed limit, both north and southbound on Myers Street within the city, which would take it all the way to Bike Trail and all the way up to 210.
Mhm.
And we can get some signs posted at 25. We can have the ordinance amended so that it's 25. And if the ordinance says it's 25, then the sheriff can write tickets. Right now, I think it would be kind of ambiguous if the sheriff were to write a ticket. It's posted at 35. How legal is it? You know, you go to a judge and, it's posted, show me in the ordinance where, that is the speed limit. Well, we don't have anything in the ordinance that says that's the speed limit. And so the judge probably dismissed it. Or the people just pay the ticket, not go to the judge.
Right. You lower the ticket, or you lower the speeding limit, the higher the ticket, right? That's about the only benefit
Yeah.
out of
But we
posting
we
it.
would want to make sure that we include in our ordinance and that the county
Specified,
agrees
yeah.
that it's worth having a 25-mile-an-hour limit. We have complaints, we can approach the supervisors, and if they have no objections, then we can amend the ordinance, have that as a 25-mile-an-hour speed limit. And, you know, I like I like having, like these, it would be nice if, we only had one and we moved it around.
Well, they make trailers you can buy, but then you're talking about
Well,
15,000.
But move it, on permanently,
Just mount it on the
move it on a
post.
permanent
Right.
post, just mount it on the post and then mount it on a different post.
Yeah.
Particularly if it collects data that can be
Can help us.
usable, and that we can turn over to the county sheriff.
There you go.
If there is a consistent, violation at a specific time, then the sheriff should know about it.
We may not have some lights, but my God, we still have speed limit signs. Anything else, Lauren?
No, sorry.
Megan?
Yes, at one time we talked about getting some light up stop signs for certain corners.
We were just talking about that.
So I would like to take it a step further. Now, I guess I don't know for sure. Are they all solar? I want the solar one.
Yeah, this one's solar.
Okay.
Coming up right now.
That
Okay.
was one
I didn't know if they were all solar or
I think
how
you're
that
right.
works.
Anymore, they
Yes.
got a nice little.
So we were,
solar
Ken and I were just
Exactly
talking about the
like
four-way.
that. I want the four-way. And I was thinking over on Baldwin, once we get that done, having them there.
Yeah, because that would
on
probably be
that.
another four-way. Isn't that what we were thinking?
That will now become a
The
four-way
turn
instead
at
of a
Baldwin
three-way.
and Fifth, is that gonna continue to be a three-way stop?
I don't know that we're changing it with the Baldwin project, but we certainly could, because I don't think that's county,
So
that's
at
state,
that-
or that's not
Yeah,
state,
that's-
so.
At
that's
that
city ordinance,
city.
So, yeah, you can do whatever you
Is
want
that
there.
corner
There's a
gonna
lot
get
of people that are not from our
widened, or I
town
see the guy who put the
as to when
three
to
steel
stop. I've
posts
been
down,
almost
and now
hit
they're
there,
laying
I
on
don't
the
know
ground because they
how
got
many
ran over.
times, because they think
by
I'm getting
semi
for stopping even though
or
I don't
something.
have to
West.
stop.
Okay.
Right on the corner there, he always
Then we
gets
put a
his
sign on
yard.
the one coming
Oh.
south that says.
Yeah,
He's got
that-
three
not all
posts sitting
sides
up there,
stop.
now they're laying on the ground.
That radius is gonna
Three-way
get
stop.
He needs
bigger,
to point
so.
them so that they.
I just think it
Into
makes
the
sense to have
tires.
a four-way.
I always wondered why.
Logistics.
It says either
It's
all
gonna
way or
get,
four-way.
it's gonna get made bigger, so it'll
There's
move
not
back a
there.
little bit, so.
I don't think, people, like I said, it's mostly people that are from here.
I would like to see that as a four-way, because there's so many
Yeah.
times, if you hit that stop sign, that guy coming from the west, or from the east to the west, he doesn't have his blinker on, something.
Yeah, and you would have to, where in the world is maps?
Right there.
Wouldn't you have to put the stop sign like back further though? It couldn't be right here. Because if you put it right there on the corner, that then defeats the purpose of widening everything out.
Right.
So if you put the stop back,
It would be before the radius.
so
So wherever the radius is where you'd have the stop sign and the painted white line on the road saying stop here. Well, you were increasing the radius from 25 foot to 30 foot?
I think it's actually 15 foot now, so we're
15
either
foot?
going to 25 or 30, so yeah.
So that would move it
East.
further to the east, a few feet,
Right.
less than a car length, not as far as you had the dot. You had it half a block.
Well, I mean, that's, it's a truck route, so that was my question, is because you're gonna have to, there's a car parked there.
They're already running over, I don't want them to run over the stop sign.
Yeah.
Well, there are 3 posts sitting there now that are bent completely over.
Yeah, he moved in the wrong, he pointed in the wrong direction. Should have pointed them so they go into the tires. There you go.
Well,
As
except
a bus
the
driver,
city
I
is-
hate to stop any more than necessary.
The city is liable for any damage that's caused due to obstructions in the right of way.
Which that is it.
Well, those
On that
pipes,
side of the
those
sidewalk.
posts are in the
In the
right of
right of
way. And if a car is damaged or a truck is damaged, the city is liable for that.
So who put them there?
Who knows?
The city?
No.
Oh. Well, can't the city remove them then?
Yes, we could.
Probably should.
That's what I'm thinking.
Probably should.
What else, man?
That's all I had was where we were at on the stop signs.
I got a couple things here. There was a meeting that Deb didn't attend, and she was the wise one that didn't, but Story County Emergency Management put something on the November 14th. I thought, oh, good, we're gonna get something about our connection with our sirens and everything's gonna work. The whole issue was some company was trying to sell the county X things for this. And one of the comments was, well, good, we can use it with ISU football, so we know how much traffic there is. I was completely disappointed on this, and the supervisors, I don't know what their take is, but it's very possible that they are going to do something like this is going to not help us at all with our big problem, but be more in line with Story County emergency, where the traffic is and things like that. So I was not too happy after that
I'm
meeting.
worried about Ames.
It was all Ames.
Now you know how I
Always
feel.
Yes.
Working
Okay,
on this.
that was item 1. Item 2, I've been bothering Deb a month at a time with, have we heard anything from Gil about the truck that's parking in residential areas? So I finally wrote a letter to Gil. He replied, I wasn't happy with his he wants us to video the driver getting out of the truck. Well, if there's a truck park or car parked someplace, you don't have to know who's driving it. You're ticketing the car. Why can't we take the same logic? Because Gil went through all kinds of places where we needed to change ordinances or change things, as well as a video of the actual driver. The driver's going to say it's a company truck. The company's going to say, I don't know, the driver's parking there. All kinds of scuttlebutt about how we may lose the court case, but we're ticketing the truck for parking there, not ticketing the driver, which would
And-
show up on their record when they go to renew their license. Somebody's going to have to pay it at some point. I think it's a mockery of our system for us to allow this continuously. We're talking about turning radius on North Street and other places. I don't even know the guy, but he certainly has the neighbors rattling windows when he starts it up at 5 a.m. So that's my take on it. That's I don't know what we're going to do about it. I was disappointed in our response from our lawyer.
And did you ask him to explain himself?
I did email back and ask that question. We're ticketing the
Has he
vehicle.
replied yet?
I've heard nothing back.
Okay.
We're ticketing the vehicle, not the driver.
And didn't we talk about noise, you're talking about noise and rattling in the neighbor's windows, but there's no noise ordinance.
Right.
So if he lets it run for an hour or whatever, I can understand.
Well, there's,
But if he lets it run for 10 minutes or 15 minutes to warm up,
But it shouldn't be there. It's residential.
there is a provision in the ordinance that says that maybe it's just refrigeration units, but there's a limited amount of time that you can let the thing run.
right.
But our shoulders of our roads, we don't have curb and gutter. It's hard on those turning. There's all kinds of reasons. Plus, it's illegal, or else we change the ordinance and make it anything goes.
I have absolutely no problem with writing a ticket.
Before I could.
And like you said, you're ticketing the vehicle. Yeah, you could certainly ticket it for not parking within prescribed distance from the curb. There's no curb, but then it says that you have to park within a certain distance from the edge of the road. And there's probably a number of things that we can write these little $10 tickets for. And if they fail to pay it, then they can't renew the registration if it's registered in Story County. If it's not registered in Story County, then we may not be able to enforce the payment of the ticket.
So that's why Gil wanted the picture of the driver.
Probably tied to
Because
didn't explain
he
that.
could go to
I
court
was looking, I
and
don't remember what they are now.
do it as a civil infraction.
Well, it's disappointing.
The ticket, the parking ticket works well if it's a car registered in Story County. Because if they fail to pay it, then instead of a $10 fine, it's a $15 fine, and they can't renew their registration until they pay their fine, so they get their attention at least.
Okay, that's all I had. Don't have any answers, but
Ken? Well, while we're on the subject of tornado sirens and not getting help from the county, those sirens are in. You probably have seen them. They're up. They're on poles.
Bye, Wes.
Yeah,
Have a good
they're
night.
just waiting
Merry
on
Christmas.
electricity to be ran. So, yeah, and those are all once electricity is ran, they'll come back in. Make sure they program everything and everything works. We did get all of our components back for the school tornado siren.
We got what?
All the components back for the school tornado siren.
Oh, so that one will be working also?
Yeah, no, nope.
Okay.
Nope. I'm gonna say this tongue in cheek because I know we're on camera, but that issue is still the issue, not on the city. So,
And non-electrical.
and all,
So the other two sirens will be working within the next
whenever
estimated number of days?
We got locates today for it.
they did put the locates out today.
So we're okay.
So maybe a few weeks. And that covers the one at the sewage treatment plant and the one at the fire station. And the one that's at the school does not go off automatically.
But we can turn it on manually if need to. With that, with the components, what's their name? Blue Ridge Sirens or whatever, whoever we bought everything from. They're gonna set it off so we can trigger those sirens from the fire station. So all we have to do is hit the button on the radio like we're going to call somebody, and it will set all those off. In that case, if we can get that to work that way, there's a possibility that it will set the one off at the school.
And
Because
it has
it's not
to be
coming
done,
from-
it has to be done at the fire station. It can't be done from a fireman's remote.
It might be able to. I think that's something that we have to get with Raycom to see. The problem is the outdoor warning siren system is still utilized with the old system. That's the problem that we're running into. They turned that frequency down in order to make Storycom work better. And according to what I've
or want to preface that first, so I don't get, how about you? And when they turned that frequency down, that's when we lost sirens to Maxwell.
Because we have older ones or ones that are on a different
We're
frequency.
just so far away from
Okay,
most other.
The receiver can't get the
Okay.
signal.
okay.
And we bought a, I don't know, 5-foot tall antenna mounted it on top, and it still wasn't getting any signal, but we could get
Mm,
electronic engineering, or somebody could come out and press the button on their pager and then go off, so. These ones though, these new ones are gonna blow everybody's windows out, so.
Go away or go on their own. So ideally, we would want that if it can be on a firefighter's. We probably want it on Tony's for sure.
Yeah.
Because I mean, he's fire and the city.
It would be,
That way
Probably-
he doesn't have to leave his house either and put
probably
his
starting-
life in danger.
probably starting.
Unless he's already out.
Probably starting out, it would be just that fire station, because what happens typically if there's no severe weather that is impeding, aside from the derecho, because that nobody had any idea of what was going
Right.
on. There's gonna be storm spotter activation for the Maxwell Fire Department. They're already gonna be at the fire station, because the whole point of calling fire departments out is to start looking to see if there's tornadoes on the ground, where it's at and how it's gonna impact the city. And 2, if a tornado were to hit Maxwell, we need to get all the emergency vehicles out of town,
Right.
so we have the resources available to come back in.
I was just thinking of the staging of the sirens. They kick them off up in Nevada, and these two go off. And then somebody drives down to the fire station and kicks the other one off. A few minutes later, is it going to cause confusion?
Hmm.
So that's
Since they're all
why
going at
having
once.
it on the
Right.
handheld
Somebody's hand,
may be a little bit better, because you don't have that few minute delay while somebody gets down here.
Right, and the other side of that too is that siren, one, it is outdated. I mean, I think we bought it from Ames 30 years ago, or got it from Ames for free 30 years ago,
The one at school,
the one at the school.
I thought it got replaced a few years ago, because it's not the same one that was there 5 years ago.
The one at the sewer lagoons, I believe, is the one that got replaced sooner rather than later.
The one at Sewer Lagoons is the one we got from Ames.
There you go. I was wrong.
Just flip flop.
Yeah, but they're
About
both,
15 years ago.
the one that at the school is still a refurbished model. It wasn't new when we bought it. And so it's probably not gonna get tested weekly, nor does it need to, because now we have these two sides. They're just extras at that point. So the only real time that would probably go off is if there was a major storm coming through and we had folks available. If you can't hear those two loud 2 mile sirens. Okay, that's all I got.
I move approval of the consent agenda.
Moved by Steve,
Second.
second by Lauren. Discussion. Hearing none. Ken.
Yeah.
Steve.
Yes.
Lauren.
Yes.
Megan.
Yes.
Doug.
Yes.
Move to adjourn.
Moved by Megan,
Second.
second by Lauren.
There we go. Some things have to be official.
I thought we were,
Yes.
I forgot.
Lauren.
consent- Yes.
Megan.
Yes.
Doug.
I forgot
Yeah.
consent agenda items are all one.
Shut her
I
up,
was
yep.
waiting, I wanted to thank you so bad.
Too bad. You're too slow.